Hi, and welcome to another edition of Food for Thought. I'm Rich Austin with Speaking of Success, doing business as cooking up content. Um, if you've missed me, it's because I haven't done one of these in several weeks. Believe it or not, I've been having a little trouble with my voice. Um, I think maybe it's God's way of telling me to speak less and listen more. But I've got it under control somewhat. So today we're back. And I've been thinking a little bit about profit and how much profit is good. Um, so today we're going to talk a little bit about profit versus greed. So, how do we reconcile one against the other? In a capitalistic society, profit is seen not only as good, but necessary. The same culture that champions profit also looks down on greed. However, in Ayn Ryan's book, The Return of the Primitive, an anti-industrial revolution, she writes, capitalism has been called a system of greed, yet it is the system that raised the standard of living of its poorest citizens to heights no collectivist system has ever begun to equal, and no tribal gang can even conceive of. So was Gordon Gekko, the fictional character in the 1987 film Wall Street, correct when he said greed is good? In counterpoint to Ms. Ryan, society views greed as unfavorable because it may inflict harm to others and cause adverse societal incomes. As Wang and Mulligan write in the Academy of Management Annals, individual greed benefits one person at the expense of others. So, although previous generations have used other terms, we often speak of equity or fairness when we discuss wealth, income distribution, profit taking, or price gouging. It is certainly not uncommon to see prices of specific goods skyrocket in times of shortages. This is the ultimate example of the few profiting at the expense of the many. During the Great Migration of the last century here in the U.S., which saw millions of African Americans leave the Jim Crow South for the supposedly less racist northern cities, the average rent charged to these newcomers and for poorly maintained housing was on average 50% higher than similar housing in nearby white communities. And as is often the case, these newcomers were the least able to afford it. Now, we could go on and on about the pros and cons of profit and how it allows for job creation and overall economic growth, while at the same time, the inequity of the system propels one group forward while keeping another group down. However, that's not really the purpose of today's discussion. Today, I simply want to urge all of us do a little soul searching over the next month. It's the perfect time of the year for it. For the past several months, we've been subjected to political messaging that urged us to look at everything in terms of black or white. One is all good or one is all bad. Now, that's no way to run a society, and it's certainly no way to run a business. If we can only raise ourselves up by holding someone else down, we're not planning for the future. Janine Richards, in her article, 9 Ways to Overcome the Power of Greed, provides us with some ideas. Here are a few of her thoughts. Number 1, Practice gratitude. When we appreciate what we have, the desire for more naturally subsides. Number two, set clear goals for what we want in all aspects of our lives, not just material things. If we're going to spend more time with those we love, we'll have to spend less time accumulating wealth. Not only will this keep us focused on what matters to us, but it will keep us from chasing down the shiniest new object. Number three, cultivate contentment, which is closely related to gratitude, but contentment doesn't mean complacency. Instead, it's about finding satisfaction within our present circumstances. Number four, she says, understand the impact of greed. Greed can destroy relationships and divide communities. Keeping an eye on the larger picture allows us to more easily keep our greed in check. And lastly, practice generosity. This allows us to discover that there really is more joy in giving than receiving. It helps us realize that we are part of a larger community and that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. Vanna Marie Bonta, American writer, actress, and inventor, said, quote, greed is a lack of confidence in one's own ability to create. Something to think about, or food for thought. Well, I hope you get something out of this, and I hope it won't be another month before I do another food for thought. But if you have any questions about anything that we just covered, send me an email at rich@speakingofsuccess.us and let's talk about it. Thanks, everyone. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I'll see you soon. Bye.